Welcome to another episode of Tech Storytelling. And this tech story is for the business leaders, that is for you and by the business leaders. Today, I have an amazing guest. He's Mr. James Kanyangi, and James is the group head of Techno Brain Group. So, James, namaste and welcome to this tech story.
Thanks a lot, Madan. It's the group head of robotic process automation.
Yeah. So thanks a lot for correcting. So James is the group head of robotic process automation, Technobrain Group. So James, before we get started, can you please tell us about Technobrain Group and your role over there?
Thanks, Madan. Technobrain has been around for going to 21 years now. Started as an IT training company, ventured out into BPO and solutions business. I sit in the digital business where we come up with solutions around the leading edge technologies. So you have AI, robotic process automation, blockchain, solutions around digital agriculture, IoT, and such like. Yeah.
That's great. Great to know that. So, James, out of curiosity, you built the practice from scratch in March 2019 and grew the RPA business to a $2 million per year. So, congratulations. So what's the secret? What are those building blocks? Would you like to share with audiences here?
Thanks a lot for that question. It's not easy at all building anything from the ground up. A lot of hard work trying to introduce the concept, a relatively new concept that is robotics and automation for business processes. Yeah. A lot of sales resources required across many countries. So it's really a joint effort. A lot of support required from management to facilitate and actually actualize. Yeah. So it is something that, say, a startup might struggle with. Yeah. But a business that has legs and ongoing engagements will find it increasing easier to do. But then again, the solution is relevant. The problems are real for the businesses. Yeah. And they are just looking for a solution that can work for them. Yeah. So that is how we were able to actualize this. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So out of curiosity, I mean, Africa, what I studied and read about Africa is the exciting market for RPA and business transformation using AI. And I know a lot of Indian company has based into Johannesburg. So can you please tell us, how is your Africa readiness about RPA and AI, or some of the transformational story that you have watched surrounding, or maybe your customer story into Africa?
Sure. So the South is really established. The market is mature in the South. A lot of solution providers down there. The market is well abreast of the concept of RPA. Yeah.
Okay.
The rest of the continent are now only getting to understand or to start. Yeah. We are almost at the inflection point where now the leaders are thinking about it, they are adopting it. Yeah. And all across. Yeah. The East and West Africa as well. Though I need to say very early days still in the sub-Saharan Africa, except for South Africa.
Okay. So you see potential into East Africa as well as West Africa, because that is just yet to start, right?
Yeah, untapped.
Okay, adopt. Yeah, great. All right. So driving revenue within the RP and AI business across the group is one of your forte, and you keep driving since your adoption in your Technobrain group. So would you like to share what are those keys and driver to boost the revenue? Maybe for your customer, maybe for aggregator?
Yeah, sure. I mean, every business have their own revenue model. Some would want, a more capex model where they charge upfront for the licenses, the professional services, and the support. And others would, adopt a more OPEX model, yeah. So like subscription. So it depends on the strategy of the business, yeah. So that is what I've seen. Yeah, for the SME players, you'll probably want to give them low entry. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe they won't have a lot of appetite for capex.
Mm-hmm.
Then for the enterprise-wide scale automation, then that model will change, but heavily dictated again by the client. So the way a business or an aggregator picks the model, it's really their own strategy, internal. Yeah. I'm not at liberty to expound really more on our strategy for obvious reasons, but it really depends with number one, the customer, the size of the customer, and also the strategy of the aggregator.
Okay, great. So since you talk about capex and opex, and I think nowadays a lot of discussions going around, and in fact, leaders are formulating this strategy. How may you turn your capex into opex, right? Or the second thought is how may you reduce the overall opex you see using RPA. So have you seen such kind of trend happening into Africa or any of your customer who has used RPA or AI to reduce the OPEX?
Yes. I mean, in all cases, cost is one of the three major elements of savings. Yeah, for any client. Yeah. For most of them, you'll find that there is one activity that cuts across horizontally in the organization that they want to save on. Yeah,
Yeah.
so mostly it's processing time from individuals that then they will want automation to take over, and for the
Yeah.
individuals to focus maybe on more customer-centric activities.
Okay.
Later, I'll be giving you an example of one client who drove down a process taking 4 hours to a couple of seconds. Yeah, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
one of
that's
our
great.
classic cases. So I'll be shedding more light on that.
Sure. So I think you talked about the customer. The customer who dropped the processing time from 4 hours to few seconds. So would you like to tell us more about what was the pain point, what essentially happened, and how drastically you have cut down the time? What was the as is process and to be process? That would be really exciting for the audiences here.
Yeah, sure, Madan. So this client had a reconciliation problem, data points from many systems, internal, yeah, and external, including bank statements and mobile money statements, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And the problem here was the reconciliation had to happen before their field agents are paid, yeah. So before the automation, you had the field agents going a couple of days without payments for the exception transactions,
Mm-hmm.
and we are talking several thousands of transactions each and every single day. And in addition to that, you had the reconciliation backlog because the customer doesn't work on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they reconcile for the weekend, it's already Tuesday. So they always were struggling with their backlog. Yeah. So we had to do a complex set of reconciliation, tying all these systems. Yeah. Where the unattended bot pulls in the data from all these systems, runs them in near real time, as checks out a reconciliation report. Yeah. And the field agents who were pending to be paid, they were now able to do that within a few minutes.
Okay.
So the time used to take 4 hours, and I think four or five resources every single day. This was brought down to 46 seconds. Yeah.
That is incredible. This is incredible. Really, this is the power of technology, RP and AI together. All right,
Yeah.
great. James, I know last time also when you came to our webinar, you talked a lot about sales, pre-sales, how to sell the solution. On this interview also, I would like to know your thought process. I know pre-sales is one of the most important activity to acquire the customer. So it is a kind of make or break situation for the companies to acquire the customer. So, Phil, in your view, I mean, what are the important building blocks or maybe the driver we must be covering into the pre-sales from intelligent automation perspective?
Okay. Okay. Sure. So for me, the most important thing will be to level with the customer on what the automation can do for them and what it
Mhm,
can't. The worst thing will be to pick a process that is not suitable for RPA. So the pre-sales stage is where this is cleared out, while leveraging the possibility provided by the automation. You help the client pick the ideal use cases at this point. Yeah, yeah. And by ideal, I mean the feasible ones, but also ones that are able to give the customer the highest return on investment.
mhm.
Most customers would want to show the rest of the business that they are able to generate immediate saves in the short term. Yeah, running from anywhere from 6 months to 1 year. So that is that. The pre-sale stage also helps you kind of like scope, yeah, and know which other processes are feasible. And in so doing, you're helping their customer develop like their automation roadmap. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if they want to start with their customer facing departments and then go into the back office, into HR, into finance and accounting, are you picking a process from each department, or do you want to focus in a specific area, and so on and so forth? So a lot of consultancy feedback is done at pre-sales, but also you're trying to win over the customer,
Okay,
yeah, before closing the deal.
okay, great to
Yeah.
great to know that. Uh, what I have seen from my experience, I mean, one of the failure, I mean, to take the buy-in of the business leaders, right? So RPA, I'm talking about the RPA selling point. So, in your view, I mean, what are the top two RPA selling points that will help anyone, I mean, project managers or the business leaders to take the business buying or maybe the leaders buying so that project should kick off. So, what do you think? Those are the top two RPA buying, the selling point.
Yeah. Madan, I'll give you three.
Okay,
And
okay, you are
and
so
this apply for every business that I've engaged with. Yeah. So the first one is cost. Of course, everyone wants to
Mhm.
cut down on not really on the resources, yeah, but on the staff time spent on specific processes, yeah,
Okay,
so that the staff can then repurpose. The second one is productivity.
okay.
Yeah, you want for your employees to be happy, not to be glued
Mhm,
to their screens and their keyboards on Excel sheets the whole
mhm.
day and switching between one system and another. And then the third one is the customer experience. You want
Oh,
the end customer, the TAT, of the various processes to be as short as possible, so that the customer delight can then be there. Yeah. And of the three, I think that is the most important,
okay, okay.
important one.
So I'm
Yeah.
quickly summarizing. Number one is the cost, reducing the cost. Number two is improving your employee productivity, which essentially mean that improving your employees' experience, right?
Yes.
And number
Yes.
three is improving the customer experience. So in a way, you are saying 60% of the driver buying should be the experience, uh, either whether employee experience or maybe the customer experience, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
So for me, I view automation and specifically robotic process automation as a
mhm.
tool to make work easier, work more fun, and also the customer to be more delighted by your
Yeah.
business processes. That's how I view RPA.
Yeah, it's a great insight. I mean, rather than you focus RPA as a silver bullet, Rather, you should be focusing as a tool, but end of the day, your main focus should be either reducing the cost for the business, maybe improving the overall customer or employee experience. That is great insight. So now I'm
Yeah.
coming back to a little bit of touching upon the strategy, the James, that, I mean, a lot of people ask me that, I mean, what should be your strategy to approach the new customer who may not be much aware about the power of RPA? So what I mean, in your view, what would be your suggestion to approach the new customers and drive the entire RPA engagement?
So I found this to work most of the times. Yeah. Don't talk about the tech. Focus on the customer problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your problem? Yeah. Do you think that it could be better if this can be done in this way? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Will it make your customers happier if this can take half the time or a fraction of the time? Yeah. What are the inputs into this process? Yeah. Are they all digitized?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is the exception rate for this process? How mature is the process? Yeah. So you lead on the customer into a place where then RPA is the best fit. And then now at that point is where now you say, there's this solution that is available that can help you in this way, in this process. Yeah. Is that something that you'll want to try out? Yeah. Then I think from there is when you talk about your price points and all that and the feasibility of the processes. That is how I see it. Wow.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Your view. Thanks a lot for the insight. James, I mean, I have two very, very powerful questions. One is re-engineer or automate? And second question, which comes first? RPA comes first or process mining comes first? These are the two things a lot of debate happens into the industry. So I will pick it up first, re-engineer or automate. What's your view?
Reengineer every time.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't rush in with your toolbox. Look at the process. Many times we found processes that the customer was thinking this should be RPA, but from our own advisory, we actually negotiated ourselves into providing another solution apart from RPA. Yeah, so it could be a chatbot, for instance. Yeah, with integrations into the backend systems as opposed to having a robot. Yeah, for instance. Yeah. So for me, when the customer is faced with this dilemma, the trust is on you to really guide them. If you apply RPA in a process that should have first been re-engineered, then it's only a matter of time before problems start cropping in down the line. Yeah, and then it will lead to the negative customer experience. Or the second one, just come again with the second one.
The second one is RPA. Which comes first, RPA or process mining?
Okay. So I see process mining as part of the RPA engagement. Yeah. Before you move into to implement, you want to understand more about the existing process, and there are tools out there currently that even automated tools that the user could just be doing their process, and the tool is able to monitor that process, pick the data points, and help you determine whether it is a process that is feasible for automation, even give you the gains. Yeah, if this was to yeah. So the automated tools are out there. So the mining comes before the design. Before you go into the design, you have to look at the existing process, the current as-is process, yeah, and the to-be process, or the result of the mining is, the process definition documentation that then the customer can clearly see the value of the automation.
Yeah, great to know that. James, I mean, nowadays, a lot of discussions are going on shifting your, capex to opex, and cloud deployment is one of the initiatives, SaaS-based product. A lot of RPA vendors or the partners has the SaaS-based model, right? I mean, pay as you go. So what's your view? I mean, where do you see the industry is heading? Do you see any resistance from the customer side who has resistant in terms of adopting the cloud-based model?
Um, so there's not really resistance per se, yeah.
Mhm,
But certain categories of clients will be keen on their data remaining on premise. Yeah, so
mhm.
for those ones, of course, the deployments have to happen on prem. And the good thing is with the platforms out there, they are very ubiquitous. Yeah, it could be on the cloud or on prem. Yeah, um, so a larger proportion would desire that the robots be running from within their network perimeter. Let me just put it that way. Yeah, as
Mhm.
opposed to running from your cloud or from public cloud and then accessing internal systems and then retrieving data for processing in the cloud. That is what I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Now, there's a small distinction here. Offering automation as a service can still be done even if the automation is on premise. Here is where you're saying, um, I'm not going to sell you the licenses or the components. Yeah. I'm going to have it as a managed service. I'm going to take it on me. And then, you're going to then have a subscription for whatever managed, the bundle of managed services I'm providing.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, great. So my question to you, I mean, this is more from the career perspective and career transformation. A lot of business leaders, project managers, still they are not sure how may they transform their career into intelligent automation, RPA space. They're stuck up because I mean they're not sure from where to get started, how to get into this space because this is really exciting. They are sure about what part, but they are not sure about the how part. So being a business leader into this space, James, what would be your advice for the business leaders build capability into this space and how to get started?
Sure. So it starts from where you are. Yeah.
Mhm.
Look at your processes. If you're a leader within an organization, look at the processes that is giving customer dissatisfaction. Yeah.
Mhm.
One's bogging down your team. Yeah. One in which there's a need for cost containment, and really start from there and look at
Mhm.
technologies that can then come in and sort out these problems. Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I started RPA. I think that should be 4 or 5 years back. I was within
Mhm.
a global bank, and we had goals to do all that. Yeah, cut down
Yeah.
on the turnaround time. Make our lives easier and all that. Yeah, and it caught on. So it starts from where you are. How can this new technology um, make our lives easier? Yeah,
Mhm.
then you
Mhm.
you build up from there. Yeah. The other thing I would like to mention is RPA is unique in that it's user driven. It is so a business head can actually drive it as opposed to a CTO or a technology head.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it impacts directly impacts the operation sides of the business. It is low code. Yeah, it is something that can easily be rolled out without changes in the underlying systems. Yeah, so it is not as disruptive as these other technologies that are out there. So actually anyone can champion an RPA initiative within the organization. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So, James, what I heard, and this is really interesting conversation, especially for the business leaders who are coming from operation and the business. And what you mentioned is the business CTO, right? Because the nature of the RPA, or in fact, is AI is the democratized. This is accessible to all the business leaders today. So I mean, are you saying that today the business leaders or the department head need to play a vital role in overall their business transformation by leveraging the power of all the technology. So, quick, can you please cover up? It should be IT driven or it should be the business driven?
So for me, I think it should be driven by the business. Yeah.
Okay.
But but the disclaimer here is, but with a very close liaison with the IT side. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You want that acceptability. I mean, traditionally, all the technologies up to the fourth industrial revolution, pre-fourth, yeah, they
Okay.
have been championed, driven by the tech side of the business. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a change. Yeah. So you want to loop them in. Your RPA will be sitting in an infrastructure. That's where
Okay.
they come in. Yeah. They have to be involved from the get-go. Yeah. From when you're conceptualizing the concept. Yeah. They have to be involved. But the users should be the ones driving the conversation. This is the business process. Here's where we are spending the most time. Our customers are complaining about this. Yeah, we want a digital resource that then can help us solve these problems. So the rest of the organization is coming in to help you facilitate this problem as the business, as operations. That is my take.
I think you brought a smile on my face, and definitely the people who will watch this conversation, especially the business leaders in operation, it should bring a smile on their faces because they are confused from where to get it started. And I think this should be a imagination, triggering into the imagination that AI is, of course, technology, but you have to play a bigger role in transforming your business and transforming your operation. Thanks a lot for this interesting insight, James. So it was really fantastic. It was really nice talking to you. Thanks a lot for time. Uh, and thanks a lot for sharing the insights with this with this on this storytelling.
Thanks a lot, Madan. Always a
Yeah,
pleasure to be with you.
great, great. So, guys, we were talking to Mr. James Kanyangi. He's the group head of Robotic Process Automation Techno Group. You may follow James on LinkedIn in case you have any question. If you want to have an interesting conversation, he should be available on LinkedIn. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned. We are coming up for more interesting conversation in the future, and wish you all the best.